You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 15th meeting of the Trail Creek Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. We have a full house tonight, which is unusual, but welcome.
I like it.
Do we have any special guests tonight? No, okay. So we're going to skip over special guest and we're going to move on to approval of the minutes from the October meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
I'll wait for everybody else, but I will move to approve the minutes as presented from the October 18th meeting.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, please approve the special meeting.
That was going to be next.
Thank you.
So we also had the special meeting that we held on October 25th. If everyone's had a chance to review that.
I will also make the motion to approve the minutes from the October 25th special meeting.
Hearing no questions or comments, we'll honor Mr. Pizarro's motion. Need a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the fund report. I didn't see anything that stood out here, but Jocelyn, did you have anything that was?
No, nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the fund report? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the fund report as presented.
And a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I see that we had one more special meeting minutes packet, so we need to go back just for 1 second if we can to the redevelopment commission meeting that we had.
All right. I wasn't there, so.
Okay. Did you review them though?
I did review it, yes. Yes, I definitely reviewed them.
Okay. Kyle and Sharon, have you both reviewed these? I don't think we have to technically have a motion, but,
Well,
That's
because
a
you'll
second.
approve that at your next one.
okay. Then we'll
At
just
your
move
next
back to
redevelopment,
that.
because you'll have some other activity.
Thank you for the reminder.
Okay.
Okay, so that one we'll hold off on.
All right.
And back to the agenda then. We have payment of the bills. And again, I didn't see anything that stood out to me, but I would entertain any questions or comments from the council.
I don't see anything to say about.
And if there are no questions or comments, if we can have a motion to approve payment of the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Thank you, Sharon. And a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kyle. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Moving on, do we have any correspondence this evening?
No.
None, okay. For going on to reports for MS4, Kate and I had the opportunity to meet with some representatives from Pot Park and from Long Beach. Michiana Shores was not able to make the meeting that we had, but we did agree that we wanted to try to work together as one entity, actually, well, a few entities working together as one, with Reggie Corthalis. So we're going to continue to meet on that, and we'll bring everyone up to speed as there's more information. So that's the MS4 report. Moving on to our attorney, Mr. Willoughby, how are you this evening?
Well, thank you. Not much. Following up last month, there was some discussion about Title VI and ADA plan, the bones of the plan, but after communicating with Mr. Haas in between there as well, trying to, he's doing his deadlines for grants, we agreed that probably need a little more, I just need some clarification, so I've contacted the state NDOT rep with
Okay.
regard to some details, and then I imagine we'll be able to present that at your December meeting for you to consider and approve, and have plenty of time before that, because it's voluminous. I mean, most of it is required things that you have to have in there, but so that you have enough time to actually put some eyes to it and consider it. But
Okay.
it's in the works and waiting for a call back from NDOT, which, you know, again, it's really just providing some clarification.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? No? Okay. Mr. Haas, you're up.
All right.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. You too. Well, on the CCMG past project closeouts, 2019 and 2020, we've been working closely with Clerk Treasurer Josh Lee, and I think things are going really well. In fact, the payment reimbursement back to NDOT, was that part of what the bills that were just approved? So that's great. So I think that's about the last step then, is to pay them back
Okay,
and then get notice from them that after they receive payment, that they've received payment, and they will close out both of those. Yeah, did you already send the check for 2020, or is that part of tonight also?
that's part of tonight, correct.
Okay.
And just so the council is aware, we are paying back from 2019 and 2020 a total of $23,875.26. That was unused grant money that has to go back to them. So that will come out of Riverboat.
Okay.
And that was part of your packet this evening.
Right.
So those projects can get closed out. We should get a notice back from NDOT shortly after did they send you the invoice?
Yes, I have both.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it's in there.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, so that should put you in a position then to apply for grants in
If you want to see those, we
2023.
can review those.
Okay. The 2023-1 call, which I believe will open that call for projects on January 3rd. And close somewhere around like January 26th. So in the meantime, it's not too early to start thinking about what roads to include. If in fact we want to go for a grant application for that first call in 2023. What roads to include, because we need to start getting that together in preparation for submittal to NDOT early in January.
And you said that closes when, that window?
I think it's done January 26th. I'm not sure about that date, but I know it opens on the 3rd.
Okay. And then how soon do we have to have our plan approved to move ahead?
That's been what.
Okay, so we've already got that done.
Oh, the asset management plan? Oh, yeah, that was
That's
approved
done.
last week.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if we bring our project list to the December meeting?
Brookside.
Yes, if not sooner. Are you, as a council, going to determine which streets that you want to include?
What we usually do is these are the streets that we recommend, and go from there.
I think it would be good if prior to the meeting in December, that maybe if we had a list that we could at least make a rough cost estimate for each one, so that you can then consider how much, you
Right, how much we have
you
versus
want
what
to
we
put in as a match. You're in the 75-25 category, so then that'd give you an idea of how much money you want to set aside
Okay.
and what's affordable, because maybe the list would be too much to afford.
So would that be, should we just email those to Matt?
Matt's no longer with House
Oh.
Associates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably email
Some will
them.
email to you.
Yeah, email them today. And be very specific about from
Which.
where to
Okay.
where,
Okay.
the limits on the paving.
Certainly.
And then, in a backup plan, I believe that there was an application made maybe about a year ago under Mr. Doyle. And so I think you have, if we aren't able to come to a consensus,
So we at least have that too.
we could take that one, dust it off,
Although I
update the
think
costs.
some of those were also, like Wellnuts was part of that, if I remember correctly.
It was.
So there were some streets that we've just finished that were, yeah.
Brookside.
Brookside is one.
Yes, that was one that we put off, but that is the, yeah, that's definitely needs to be.
Yeah, and Oriole from Bluebird too.
Yes,
Does anyone have a list of what was submitted?
I could go, I'm sure we're
Sure,
there
we
in
can
the
go back
old
and find it
minutes.
and pull it.
I-
Jocelyn, you probably have a copy of
She
the
does.
actual application, so that would be the easiest way to do that.
Okay, is it the full application, like what was what was, I can't remember
Should be.
if the town submitted an application and then was told, no, you can't.
That's
because-
correct.
Yes.
So you had to get it all the way put together, ready to submit?
It's in the system, in the
Okay. And was
system for the
that,
grants.
was that a year ago now?
I
Or,
believe it was. I believe it was.
yeah, so there's a backup plan and
Yeah.
if you wanted to take streets besides that list,
Then we can go from there.
yeah,
Okay,
but we can take that list and update those costs as at least a start, and then look at whatever you
Sure.
said.
and Sharon, if you wanted to call me and I can add yours, whatever your ideas are.
Okay.
And then as far as, let's see, those are the two that have to be closed out. We're almost to the goal line. Then as far as the ADA transition plan, I've been looking into that and I'm in the process of getting a hold of one of the MDOT representatives that this falls under her guidance
Okay,
and get some input from her. One of the things that I found out is that back in 2012, there were most communities in Indiana put together or were supposed to put together an ADA plan at that time in 2012. And I'm wondering if anybody here knows if there was one put together in 2012.
I don't believe
I
so.
don't think there was.
No, it's been quite a while ago. But were you here at that time?
We just came in, yeah.
What was it you were asking for?
ADA transition plan, American.
Because I was here back then, but that doesn't sound.
I don't think we,
Yeah.
I think we talked about it, but I don't think a plan ever got
Okay,
done.
okay,
I can forward with Mr. Erbach too, just to see if he has any recollection of it.
okay.
If you would.
Because that would, if there is one, that would be an easier place to start than start from scratch. But we at least have to make some progress on one and be able to show that it's something that the town's working on.
Okay,
In case, as far as the CCMG program, that's what
they would like to see that,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. All right, so there might be a 2012, we'll check, I guess. I can also check with Mr. Dahl.
Thank you.
And then, apparently you all didn't have any questions because we had sent in a recommendation to pay Reeve Riley, pay up number 2. And that was release of retainage, which, in acceptance of the project is complete. So that's essentially been done because you've already agreed to pay them.
And they did a very fine job.
They did.
They did.
Very good job, I agree.
Really,
Yeah, it's looked nice.
yeah. Then I think let's see, the other thing that I have is I just received today a request for permit from Comcast. They would like to put in a buried service connection to a house at 404 Yankee Road. Looks like it's really, in the past, have you normally given permits for that kind of work? They won't be doing any excavation of the street, I don't think,
We've not done
Generally
that as a
speaking,
council,
when it
but
comes to utility companies, it's kind of an off-limits thing. They do what they do and we let them go for it.
Okay,
so it's more of a notice that that's happening.
Yeah.
okay. I'll respond to this then from a person from Comcast.
Okay,
I forwarded the call to you because I wasn't sure if they were doing road cuts and that's
Yeah,
your area of
Yeah,
expertise.
it
so-
doesn't look like it.
Okay.
I think it's an underground, but I think I will ask about the access pits, where they're gonna dig those and things like that, make sure those are in the street pavement.
Okay.
And I think that concludes my report.
okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, then we'll be in touch with street ideas.
Right.
Thank you. Jocelyn, anything from the park department? No?
I did touch base with him
Uh-huh,
and again, it was, he'll follow up and I haven't heard anything, so.
okay, thank you. Our building inspector's here tonight. How are you, Mr. Thomas?
Sorry, I missed last month.
Yes.
I have nothing to report, I just kind of came in just to see where we're at with the software from the
Okay.
town.
And I believe that will be under new business,
Yes.
right? Because we've got another possibility here.
Okay.
All right, anything for planning and zoning?
No.
Okay. Moving on to our police department.
Yeah, I'll let you come back. Try to make it quick. Two things. One, I just wanted to relay to you how successful our Halloween night was. It was amazingly busy, which is a good thing. Guessing over 800 people easily stopped by Nelson Park, and the community outreach was there. If you haven't looked at our Facebook page, there's 2 posts. One where I post pictures, and I make a mention about being at Nelson Park. The other is when I added all the pictures to an album. There's comments under each one of those, and it would be nice if you guys would take a minute and just read them. A lot of them, thanking the town for providing such a safe environment for trick or treat, for having it, for doing it, and just a lot of positive feedback. Next year, explore the possibilities of expanding what we actually do out there to be inclusive of people that don't have the steady flow of traffic for trick or treat will participate. So we're gonna work something out there and see what we can do. So we got a year to do that. Second thing, our new vehicles. Both vehicles are now over at Artronics in Chesterton. The first one, which is the one we got back in, it feels like 2012, was it April or May? They started on that one last Monday. The second one that we just got was delivered and they will start on that soon, within the next couple of days. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can have at least one of them back by the end of this month. We should have both of them back no later than the end of the year.
And we'll be selling the other 2 vehicles as a replacing?
No, one we are going to keep as a backup vehicle, as our fleet vehicle,
Okay,
and the other one will be up for grabs.
okay,
So originally, the plan was to take both vehicles down to Wall and Auto and have Scott go down there and talk to Chris to decide which one we really want to keep. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to work at this present time. And Chris is pushing to sell the turbo one because that's a bigger problem, even though the non-turbo vehicle has higher mileage.
okay.
So just something to keep in mind. That's all I have for you.
All right, thank you
Do
very
you have any
much.
questions for me?
How are we with the cadet situation? Hiring?
We got, hiring.
Do we have a person in
We're in
mind?
the process. Yeah, we're doing a background investigation now. So hopefully we'll have some more information on that shortly.
Good. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you, as always. We
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your support.
Moving on to our street department this evening. How are you, Mr. Zervis?
She's been pushing me tonight. As you guys see, leaves have come down with a vengeance. We're attempting to get them picked up. The machine was down yesterday, the linings in the blower were shot. Went out to, Fort Wayne, thank you, as you start saying it. Fort Wayne got 2 new linings for it, got them installed yesterday. We were back out. We're up at like 56 loads already this year, where last year we only had 14 loads done. And that's because it was a late fall. So praying that the stuff goes east. However, we are set up with one truck for snow tomorrow. And the plow's on the pickup, so with us being ready, hopefully the snow doesn't hit. But if the snow hits and it comes with what they're saying, we'll see how, we'll see how everything else plays out with leaf season then. So, but I think there was only 2 days that we didn't go out and pick up, and one was raining like mad, and that was right in the beginning and yesterday. So aside that, everything else has been going good with that. Just a reminder for people, we'll get there when we get there. And the town hall's been getting rude calls, I've been getting rude calls, and.
As have all of us, and I'm sure I
And
have.
that, hey, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, it's taken us 3 days to get through a section of town.
Is that due to the volume of leaves, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of the volume.
And then is it also, because I know in prior years, we've had a very close site to dump leaves, and now they're a little bit further away.
They were still doing around 5 loads a day. So really, that hasn't shifted much.
Okay.
Even with us doubling our time to go dump and everything, but now we don't have to wait there, push the leaves up into a pile, take the backhoe down there in the morning, come back. We don't have to do all that too. So pull in, dump, leave. It's been working pretty well with the city.
Okay.
Just a reminder for people that we'll get there, It literally took us almost 2 weeks now. The first week we went through the town in a couple of days, and then again in a couple of days. Now it's taken almost 2 weeks to go through the whole town. So that's how much is out there. We're right at the end, up by Minky, and we got at least another load and a half sitting over there to pick up.
And then we'll start back at the beginning.
And then we'll
going
start
through
right
that.
back here. Yep.
Okay.
Then you guys will get your stuff picked up. So.
We get calls from the whole town, all of us.
Oh, no, I understand.
I don't think there's a council person here that hasn't had someone say something to them, so.
And again, just reminder, hey, there's a process in which it's done. And I know the girls have been telling them that.
That's what we say as well.
So, it's a process. And it's just because your house is on the way to where we're going to pick up again, doesn't mean we're stopping by your house. So, or certain people just be picked up constantly. But is what it is.
Okay.
Any questions?
Is there a way of updating the Facebook page? Or is it just too much of a hassle?
We could, but I think it would be difficult, to say where we're at every,
Right, because I've had people call and say, hey, when are you gonna be by my house? Well, if I can tell you I'll be there at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, that would be wonderful, but
Yeah.
No.
It might rain, it might snow.
it may rain.
The machine could break down, the truck could break down, and there's a number of
No
different
way of
things.
telling
I just
where we will be.
more as a ballpark.
Right, got it.
Yeah,
Right, and we could say where you finished for that day before and kind of the area where he'll pick back up for the next round.
Yeah.
But I think even that might be a little, it might not be
it's
exact.
difficult, Right,
Yeah.
it's difficult to do.
Again, the machine breaks down, that throws the whole thing.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
you get 8 inches of snow dumped on you.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if we get snow tomorrow
So,
morning and then it continues.
I do have a question about that.
It was a dumb question.
That was a nice
Seriously,
suggestion.
it's something that's in a lot of people's minds.
It was a suggestion, but maybe not viable. So if we get the snow and it melts, will you be going back
Yes.
out if the weather permits?
Yes.
Okay,
But
that
if we
was,
continuously get snow, that's gonna throw
Then
a
that-
bigger
yeah.
horseshoe into it.
yeah,
Because we got one big main plow to run right now,
okay.
because the other one's hooked up to the leaf machine.
And how many days a week are you doing leaves?
5.
5, you're going all 5, so,
Oh, yeah.
okay, that's kind of what I thought, but I wanted
Oh,
to
yeah.
confirm that.
You guys got late today.
Yeah,
Well, the city dump closes at 3. So depending when it's around that time, so like our last load we got done, it was about, we dumped it at about 2:15. Well, it's not enough time to get in our load. You don't want it sitting inside the building overnight either, or in the truck like today, The leaf machine's outside, the plow's in. Loaded up, ready to go if we get this system.
Right.
So it all depends. But yeah, we're getting from 4 to 6 loads a day. So,
And I would imagine with this
you figure
volume of
that's
leaves,
30 cubic yards of leaves. I mean,
probably doesn't take you long with the volume that's out there.
No, we've literally gone up a street and you can't even make it to the other end of the street.
Right.
That's like I said, we're out there on Mankey over by Lombard's house. And we literally came up Mankey for 2 houses and up that long driveway, and that's it. That was a load.
Wow.
So that is how quick, is with the volume that's out there. And we went from, every 2 days we're going through town in 1 week to the next week, can't even get through a
Yeah.
section. So it's insane right now, but we're trying to push through it and get it done.
They all fell at once.
Yes.
Sure did.
Hey, better than last year when it was real late.
I agree with that too.
Absolutely.
But, that it, all good?
That's it.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Okay. Moving on, anything for NERC?
I have a December meeting.
Okay. All right, going forward, we have old business, budget talks on the additional 10% increase for our police department. So we need to appropriate that funding from a different source because we've already approved the budget for next year. My thought was to take it from the ARP funding that we have remaining. I don't know if anyone else has suggestions on that, if they looked at the budget as far as where to pull those funds from, but we can open the floor for discussion here.
The only other place that I saw, and I know Jocelyn, I'm not trying to be confrontational, but I know you have a office position here that you're holding on to.
Desperately needed.
But it's gone unfilled for at least over a year.
I can say that about this.
I understand.
Since 2019.
I understand that, and like I said, I'm not trying to be confrontational at all, but since we're trying to stay in the black and not run in the red, and if we're trying to, since the lit increase got moved to the general fund, which was against what I had wanted to do personally. I wasn't here at the meeting when that was actually conveyed to everyone else why that was done. I would have definitely voted against it at that time, but I wasn't able to. That's just where I am right now with that.
Okay, the only problem with that is that it is the refuse fund, and Steve cannot be paid out of the refuse fund.
I'm not looking to pay Steve out of the refuse fund. You're paid out of the refuse fund?
I am,
Right.
I'm paid out of both.
So that's why I was still wanting to take the money out of the actual lit fund. Because that's what that money was intended for, was for first responders.
I know, but we've already had this discussion.
I understand we've had that discussion, and what you said in that discussion is that if we didn't take the money from the lit increase, then we'll be running a budget deficit. But we have money that's not being used for an office position, and if that's the case, then that money should be moved to where we're not running a budget deficit
Okay, let's
then.
roll all the way back to budget 101. We have particular funds. Each fund has to be spent in that fund. Our refuse fund is for refuse. So you cannot use that money, unfortunately, to move to the general funds for Steve's salary.
So if we want to use that logic, then the lit fund, or the money from the lit increase, shouldn't have been moved to the general fund, and it should be used for first responders.
Okay, but
So I actually have a question, because I understand both sides of this, and I'm gonna kind of play devil's advocate with both of you. I understand that Steve can't be paid out of refuse, and that money has to stay in the refuse fund, but do you, part of your clerk's, your assistant's salary comes out of general fund as well, correct?
some of it, just a small portion of it.
Okay, and how much of that money would remain if you paid her exclusively out of refuse?
Let me see, I have a kitchen chart, let me see. Probably 10 grand.
how much do we need to finish the raises for the,
So with the $7,000 that was left over from the lit increase, the total we needed was $21,000, so we would still need $14,000 in order to bring the police up to the 20% raise.
in addition to that 7?
Correct.
And could Penny be paid exclusively out of refuse?
No, not really, because she does both jobs. She does the clerks, she's the chief deputy, and she also is in refuse. And a few years ago, we split my salary into general and refuse for the
Right.
same reason, because the general fund was empty. And I would recommend that we take that from ARP instead of taking away from an office who's desperately drowning with having had 2 new employees over the last year. I mean, we are heavy with stuff to do. I would plead with you not to take it that way. Or our residents are gonna,
Well, our residents have already felt the brunt of it dealing with not having.
That, and if we don't do this increase for the 20% increase, we're gonna lose officers and potentially lose our police department.
right, but we do have the ARP fund to cover his raise for this year, for next year, and then we can sit and we can discuss again how we're going to allocate the lit funds.
I would like to have a solid budget solution to this and not just kick the can down the road with our funds.
Well, I think for for 2023, we may not be able to adjust too much in the budget because we've already approved that budget. So if we did the American Rescue Plan funds, I know we have the salary ordinance on the agenda this evening, and I don't see a copy of it in
I
our.
can't do a salary ordinance because we have not decided on where we're gonna take that money.
Okay, because that was on
It
your
is listed by fund, I know.
agenda, but we don't have
I really tried
anything.
hard to get it done,
here.
but at the last minute, I remembered you guys have to come up with that decision, so I couldn't move far on that.
Okay.
Which is something to keep in mind, that you're, to do it in one meeting, so you may have to have an extra meeting in there.
Which is
To
gonna
make
be-
sure you approve that by the end of the year, at some point. You have through December, so you have time to figure it out and kick around the things that you're suggesting, but I'm just putting that, given that you're not gonna have unanimous council in the foreseeable future, so you won't be able to do that in one meeting.
I'm using ARP funds myself. I don't want to cut any services in town if we don't have to. It's my personal opinion. I think we need to talk about it, you know. I think if we have to have a special meeting,
Yeah, that's-
so be it, but I see both sides of it too. You know, the ARP money is there to use where we won't have to cut anything, any services from the town right now. I think that's our last option to do that. If we have to do that, then we have to do that, but I don't want to do that, you know. I want this town to run as smoothly and efficiently as it can. Our funds are there for us to use where we don't have to do that right now. And it's something I think we need to talk about for the future.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and make a different proposal than that we use the ARP funding for this, but then we hold off on your other position, and not fill that for right now, just to make sure that money is still there, knowing that we can't move it back into the general fund. I understand that, but that we hold off on filling that for the time being.
Here's my thing, the statute states that the clerk treasurer, that the council needs to provide the clerk with as many employees as she needs to run her office and a place to do it. And I can't believe that I'm sitting here
I'm
discussing.
not gonna argue about this
About
statute with you right now,
what I
because
need.
I have read the statute as well, and it says that we do need to provide you with employees, but we also get to decide the budget for said employees. And
At the cost
at a
of-
responsible way for the entire town. And we've been told time and time again that we're watching our budget every year for the last several years. You also told us that you didn't get a raise for several years.
3 years.
And going back through the budget, it looks like your salary's increased at least $1,000 every year for the last 3 years.
Those are for different reasons. Those
So
are,
that to me is still an increase though.
but that's That's travel, that's to the bank, that's what
But
that
it's
is.
still allotted to your salary.
Yeah,
item.
that was-
It's not in mileage.
Yeah, no, that was the actual salary numbers. If you go back through the budget, you've had at least $1,000 raise every year since like 2012,
Those
I
are
believe.
mileage
But then that
and
should
paid
be-
and reimbursements and things of those
But then those should
natures.
be listed as a
Right,
different
that should be
line item.
broken out separately, not in your salary.
Okay, but
So it appears on paper that you have
we will
received a
look
raise.
into that, but I disagree entirely. I follow the salary ordinance.
Understood. But we're asking, my request
But
is
we're
you
not
would hold
talking
off
about
on
that
that
right
because we
now.
don't have it approved for next year at this point for that position. So that's kind of where we're at this point. So my proposal for next year's budget, if everyone would agree on this or not, and if you don't, that's fine, you can ask a question or make the comment or counter propose as well, that we finish the ARP, or finish the salaries for the police department with ARP funding, and then we hold off on that third, I believe that's a part-time position in the clerk's office.
So we're gonna have to have a separate meeting in order to do that. Okay,
I'm
I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
We don't need a special meeting if you just.
If we all agree, then that's fine, but if we do not all agree, then
The reason you might need a special meeting is the timing of being able to pass it. You couldn't pass that in one meeting, because that would take a unanimous vote of the entire council.
right,
So
and
that's-
Scott's,
So that's why you might need to, not to make any further deliberations, but Josh will need to put the ordinance in final form and for you to vote on it on first, second.
Understood. Thank you for the clarification.
Well, I'm for special meeting.
I am too.
So my proposal stands, if someone could make a motion, then we can do that at least tonight, correct?
What's that, to?
To finalize the increase for the,
Yes, you could do that and then decide at a later date whether you need, if something comes up before next month, you could announce a special meeting at any time and put that on the agenda, or you could do the first reading at the December meeting and have a special meeting after that, as long as she's able to have that approved by the end of the year.
So your proposal was to use the ARP funds and to freeze the position, the hiring position. I will make the motion to approve or not approve, but to back your proposal for using the ARP funds for the additional 10% raise and also to freeze the hiring of the office employee.
we need a
And
second.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so at least that part's taken care of. We do have the Ruth Riley invoices for payment. And I thought that we had already approved those, but do we need to approve those separately? Okay. So everyone should have the invoices in your packets this evening from Haas and Associates.
So the total amount is $73,097.13.
That does not include the release of retainage. With the retainage, the total project, the contract cost for Ruth Riley is $81,219.03.
I move to approve the payment of Ruth Riley in the amount of $81,219.03.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And let them know again, job well done, street floor.
Oh, yes.
Very good, very good.
And then moving.
They needed it.
Oh,
Yes.
desperately. Moving on to the ACH NDOT under the use of CCMG, which is the NDOT packet that you have. Did we not just approve that in payment of the
I
bill?
thought we did,
Just discussed it.
Yes.
I just need a motion.
and that was, the total on that was, what was it?
23,875.
Yeah, I'm looking for that total.
23,875.26.
Correct.
Yes.
Where's that at?
Did you did look at it? Josh, they totaled them up before.
Okay. I would say I was looking for that total in here, I don't see it.
No, that was just, you added all those invoices up and go through.
Got it.
So then we need a motion to approve.
23,875 will be good.
26.
6.
Do we have a motion?
So this is to reimburse NDOT?
For funds that were not used, yes.
Okay, so I'll move to reimburse NDOT for the funds that weren't used in the amount of $23,875.26.
And second,
I'll second it.
any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Thank you. Okay, moving on to Beacon Geo permits, and Jocelyn, if you'd like to explain, it's part of the
Okay,
before.
you recall in July, we approved City View, and then last month, you guys had some concerns, so you rescinded that. And there were a couple of things that you mentioned. One of them, I wanted to make sure that the record is clear. Jenny, you mentioned that it would cost the $20,000 SARP, would cost each resident $21.39 a person. That is incorrect. I missed that last month. I was watching the meeting minutes. Actually, if you recall, when we went to approve City View, I explained to you that that was youth revenue. It's one of the only revenues that the town gets on our own, permitting and contract registrations. So in total of those, both those items, in total, the town took in $28,671.25 in the year 2021. That is where that would come from. I did put it in the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
As just a reflection that that's what we had talked about in July. And then in the same breath, you said Beacon, or the county was moving over to geo permits and that you wanted to move in that direction and then gave me your approval.
I didn't specify geo permits, but I did say that they were moving away from City View.
Well, they've got City View right now, and yes, in fact, geo permits was brought up through Beacon and said,
I didn't remember
Jocelyn
that.
can look into that. So I did look into that. I did speak with them directly. I received this. This does not cover the code enforcement side of that. So geo permits does not do code enforcing as City View does. This one, if you look on the second to the last page, there are 3 basic plans. Well, I'm sorry, 3 implementation plans. The first one is basic. That just means they'll come out and train us how to implement our own, get all of our ordinances in there. Our ordinance, or not ordinances, I'm sorry, permits, all of our permits and contract regulations. That would mean that we would be uploading those ourselves, and the standard is they would help us do some, and then the expanded, which is 58,000, would be they will upload all of our stuff every time it changes. For this one, the hosting would be at the top, the total annual cost would be $54.48. As you recall, City Views was $10,000, but that did include the code enforcement side. This is also part of the setup fee is $3,528. That's part of the setup, and then the implementation fee.
Okay. I know I didn't name it specifically as geo permits, that I did talk about Beacon Schneider being used at the county level.
Right.
That is what it's called. This is geo permits. That is, I spoke with Janet Cole. This is what they use. The county paid $70,000 for their software.
Right.
So is that based on the size of the entity that's using it? Or?
I asked him that, and this is the information he gave me. For our entity, us being 2,500.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you can see, they probably went with the expanded, being 70,000.
Yeah.
For us, the expanded would be almost 60,000. That's the second cost.
Right.
And again, this does not include code enforcement. I would like to see this town move technologically in the right direction. I've put a lot of time into this. I know Steve Thomas. I know there's several instances that go on daily that something like this would be good to be put in place, not for my office, but for all of our residents, for county, when they come in to look at permits, for all of our building inspectors. We are having a problem with the side of getting those inspection surveys back into the town hall. This is where that permitting program would come in great, because they cannot move to the next step until they've done, and every item has to be checked off.
So I know last month also we asked her, I think I asked her, one of us asked if we could trial City View before they actually let us do it, and they won't let you trial it.
No, in fact, that gentleman was so upset because he put 2 months into that contract after you guys approved it.
He's a salesman, I'm sure he's gonna be upset because it's
exactly,
underway,
But
so.
Steve Thomas and I had already done a demo. They just don't offer a trial, because to do a trial,
I didn't know you
have to
guys.
implement it.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
didn't know
did
you guys
mention
did a
that
demo.
2 or 3
I don't
times.
remember that.
Yeah, in July, and, we did talk about that last month as well.
Did you say the county paid
70,000.
70,000?
To Pete's point, they must do it based on how many they have. Maybe they have more permits than we do, but in the future, we may have more permitting.
Right. I get that, but we're talking about 2,500 people
Compared to the county of
compared to the county. We're
Of
at
100.
almost $60,000.
Correct.
They probably have a base rate and then they go on from there.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we're talking 100,000 people.
I guess I'm still wondering why the county is moving away from the other software though. What are the issues
I'm
that
not sure,
they're
but
seeing
I've
that?
talked to Janet Cole and she's not happy about it. She does not like the software upgrade.
And she also recommended that you guys go in if you'd like and check out the software. She'll
Can't
sit
really
with
do that
you.
during the day most
It's just-
times.
it's just
So
a
it's a nice
recommendation.
offer, but this unfortunately for
But
us,
she has both.
we all have other jobs that we have to entertain along with this, so.
Right, well, and that's the whole purpose of us trying to get this.
And we understand
Because of the
that.
same thing, I've got a full-time job as well, and it's hard for me to do my job full-time and drive around town and try and find people that are doing work that hasn't been.
That's under the radar, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Steve's run into that, I run into that.
Our other
Inspectors
inspectors
have
have
run
run
into
into that.
Understood.
We've had jobs started without,
Right.
an officer could just drive by and look
No,
it up.
and I don't know about anyone else, but I know I've called and said, hey, is this address, is this permitted?
Yeah.
It's not been very often because usually it's already got the permit pulled when I
Right.
call,
But
but
a lot of times there's a Saturday where, somebody's out there working because it's a Saturday.
yeah.
I'll call Jocelyn, has this, have a permit? No, I don't know, but I'll let you know on Monday.
Or I'll run into the office.
By then it's
and-
too late.
Yeah, we've got a situation going on at 1929 or 1931 Wallens Road, where a contractor started the job after fully knowing what he needed to pull. He knew, he worked with the engineer, now we have a cut road. And we have a neighbor who's upset, and we're at risk because he was supposed to have,
driveway.
a bond,
It's
a
a
permit, a
driveway.
registration, and a plan.
Sewer connection.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything else
I
about
have not
that.
either.
Yeah.
And now we have a road that's cut over there.
It was just repaired.
Excuse me,
Not that section, but
I'm 1931, Lawrence Road.
Sir, if we can have you approach the podium and give us your name and state your address there.
My name's Gary Roy, I live at 1931 Lawrence Road, and James Terry Sewer is actually, I contracted him in May to hook me up to city sewer, and I gave him a deposit of $3,800. And then it was supposed to be there in July, or June was his first due, and it's supposed to be there between June 15th and July 15th is when it's supposed to be done. He did come over and do some cutting or laying of piping from my septic to close to the front of my property. And then 3 weeks ago, I think it was, he came over and had a backhoe and started digging into the driveway or the road. He blocked it off so people could drive by because couldn't get people, couldn't block off the entire road. He said the police wouldn't let him block it off. And I gave him an extra $1,000 to come down and post the bond. He did that. I didn't look up the exact date, but I can tell you it was my check number 5437, gave him an extra $1,000, come down and post the bond. And according to the secretary, he never came down, never filed any of the forms. And then he wound up in jail, and the next day after he got out of jail, He called the town hall and said that he would be down that Friday, which was 2 weeks ago.
And he is yet to be here.
He called and said, I'll be down, file all the paperwork. Now she has all the paperwork that he needs to sign and everything in a pending file, and he didn't show. And then I texted him last night, and give me just a second here. I texted him last night and said, what is happening with my sewer hookup? He responded this afternoon, hopefully Friday if everything goes to plan. Has he filed any paperwork with you?
No, sir.
Who do I call if he shows up on my property and starts trying to do work without these permits filed?
Dispatch.
That gentleman right back there at the back of the room.
He's like,
I will be here Friday, but yeah, you wanna call the town hall.
All right,
To make sure that he doesn't have it. And then they would call us.
okay, okay. And then, of course, this is my buddy, my friend's across the street from me, in 2002. He has a picture on the phone showing how he dug underneath his driveway, 9 feet deep, where his driveway is just hanging. Well, they had to refill it in, but how well they packed that sand back up underneath his driveway, and he drives a big 3/4 ton pickup truck, and if that driveway collapses, and he's not insured, filed bonded, anything else, I'm screwed, literally.
Doesn't he have to be registered with the
Yes,
town and
he does.
all
Yes.
kind of things?
Yes.
He does, but
He has
he
none of it.
did not do any of that.
And
And he,
again, that's another reason for the software, because that tells us a lot.
Well, so here's the thing. If he shows up again though, he needs to cease and desist until you definitely call here and make sure he hasn't done what he needs to do
we understand
with the
that.
town hall.
Like I said, if he shows Friday, that's why I haven't said, because he just said he can try the Friday if everything goes to plan. So I'm assuming that he's
So-
either gonna try to come in and fill out the paperwork.
Here's my guess, he'll try to come late Friday. So what I would do yourself is call here, if he doesn't show up before 2 o'clock on Friday, do yourself a favor and call here.
Yeah.
Make sure he hasn't come down here and give him until like 1:30, 1:45.
Because,
I'll call about 1:30.
Because the town hall
If
closes-
it's been here by 1:30, I'll call.
because the town hall closes at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
So if he's not there before 1:30, he's not doing any work.
but he seems to have all the answers when we ask him.
Tell him no.
How it's,
I'm in 1929,
right next to him.
and I'm next in line after him, so I wanna know, and I've already paid half of my fee also.
For the same contractor?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, so I just wanna be sure that he's not starting my work until his is done. And
And all the
everything,
paperwork's filed, that's the whole,
Yeah.
that's why we want to show.
I wouldn't give that gentleman any more of your money.
No intention of right.
No.
Yeah, no,
now, my
no.
question is, how do we get back what we've already paid?
You're probably gonna have to take him to court.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to get a hold of the county prosecutor and file fraud charges,
We
which I've already
can't,
heard that's been
Yeah.
done before.
we can't technically advise you on that, but that would be a personal case to handle.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Have both of you already signed your user agreements with the Michigan City Sanitary District?
Yes. Yeah, we know that.
Those people?
Yeah, we've done our part.
Yeah.
You know, we've done all the stuff we're supposed to do, but unfortunately, he's not doing it.
You know, the sanitary district thinks that there might be sewer leads extended all the way under the Williams Road already to your side of the road.
No,
That's been verified, that's not accurate?
I saw them when they laid it, there was no line.
Oh, they did not do that.
I've been here years. Since
For a few years, we'll say.
Hopefully he will make it down here tomorrow or Thursday.
I have my fingers crossed with that, so
Alright, so,
done the way it's supposed to.
We need to-
But I just
Thank you, sir.
heads
Thank
up
you.
on what
Thank you.
So we need to get back on track here, we need to get back to the software, but thank you, I appreciate your input.
So the City View compared to the Geo permits has the code enforcement also,
Okay.
and is 10 grand a year and $20,000 startup, which, as I said, the revenue comes from contract.
Right, I understand that, and normally we would just have all that revenue that came in.
Right.
It's costing us the 20,000, which is where my $21,
Yeah,
right, where that figure that I understand it's not costing us any
no,
additional.
it's not.
It's coming out of that revenue, I understand that fully. However, it's still revenue that we're not going to have coming in once we spend it. It's there, but we're spending that money that we otherwise would have had coming in as revenue.
Right, and again, moving the town forward technologically, not just
Understood.
focusing on one
Understood.
area.
And
But
remind me again what the annual cost is on
10,000.
that? Okay, so it's
That's once the startup cost is over,
20,000.
Startup cost is 20,000.
and then it's,
But we
And
actually
that's
approved
10
that in
year,
the budget.
and we can add permits, that's for training, all of that, that's everything.
So it's 20,000 flat the first year, then 10,000 the following years.
Correct.
and assuming that helps us catch projects that haven't been reported, that might bring in additional revenue to help offset that.
And it should provide some efficiency, not just within the
Correct.
network of departments, but within your office as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely,
Oh.
yeah, all of that. Because we're working in 3-ring binders right now.
I'm still wondering why the county's moving away from it, other than the upgrade that you said that Janet, you've both said Janet doesn't like the upgrade.
No, she does not.
It was a 2-minute phone call, and she had to take another line, so I was like, all right, let's see you later.
Program?
Sorry,
Is it the program she doesn't like?
I believe so.
Yes.
Still wonder how these $70,000
So,
Right,
Yeah,
60,000.
So council members, we've already approved this number in the budget for next year.
not only that, it's more expensive for the software that they're moving into.
And so we need to decide what we're gonna do with this. Would we like to approve this to go forward?
$10,000.
Or would we like to, I don't know that there's any other option out there.
We've already approved it in the budget.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do we have a motion to allow Jocelyn to move forward with City View?
I will move that Josh Lane moves forward with the purchase of the City View software.
In a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So there we go, we can move forward. Okay. And so we'll be holding off on the salary ordinance till the December meeting, so it's tabled, correct? Because we don't have the information in front of us. Do you have any comments this evening, Jocelyn? Any council comments this evening?
I have one thing, I had a gentleman call me a couple days ago. There was a couch out in his neighborhood with some wood on it. The refuse, people took the wood off, threw it on the ground, took the couch, but did not take the wood.
They don't take treated wood.
Okay, I told him that we had representatives in here, and I would look into that. Why, I don't know what kind, I don't know if it was treated wood or what kind of wood it was, but, so,
For what it's worth, Friday when our garbage picked up, I came home specifically because a week ago they left our one garbage can full. And I came home, I had 2 garbage cans. He emptied our gray one and didn't empty the blue one. And I said, that's not a blue recycling can, that's actually garbage. And he said, well, that's a Borden can and I'm not gonna empty that.
I had a call from your guy's neighbor,
Yeah, they were there actually on Monday.
and they did pick
Pick
it
it
up?
up. Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just know that she said it wasn't picked up on Friday.
It was not, and it was out Thursday evening, because
And
it was out when we took our
Trust me,
garbage.
that became a big thing, trust me.
3 houses the other way, that same driver dumped 2 cans, and 4 houses that way, he dumped 2 cans, but he would not dump my can.
It's just 'cause of-
Noted.
So I probably.
Noted.
So I literally, after he dumped my gray can, dumped stuff into my gray can, walked it across the street, so when he came back around, he would dump it.
Wow.
I would have just walked the other can over, you're nicer than I am. Okay, but they did come back out and collect for our neighbor. She must have called Borden as well, or did someone down here? Did you call?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Because they were out, they almost missed it, they drove by our house 3 times trying to figure out where it was.
It's the one with garbage in it.
You don't even want to know the soap opera that occurred.
Thank you. So, any other comments this evening?
No.
All right. With that, I'll wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't do public comment.
No, we didn't do public comment. But it's not on.
There is.
It's not on.
It's not on our.
No, it's not on the agenda.
We will adjust that.
There's no public comment.
We will adjust that.
I'm Fred Bill Belzer, 2510 Greenwood Ave, for those of you who don't know. First off, you guys talked about $1,000 for Jocelyn today. I don't know how many hours a year she works, but the average 40-hour week, 52 times a year is 2,080 hours. And $1,000 probably comes out to about 48 cents an hour. That's a far cry from 20%. Now, I know some people got a lot less than that, but we're raising 20%. I don't think we're being smart enough or handling the monies. I'm against this program you bought for the inspection department. We're 2,500 people out here. $10,000 a year could be used for a lot of other things, like raises, road repair, refuge removal, with a good outfit. So I think we need to sit back a little bit and think about this. I think we need to get more input from the areas we're represented. When's the last time you went out and hit some of the neighbors and asked them about some of the things we're doing out there? And it's not that I'm a big advocate to that, and I know time is money, and we have a lot of things going on. But that's what we're supposed to do.
I do hear from my neighbors on a very regular basis.
I hear from mine.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I'm looking at and everything else. They did a good job on sealing up Greenwood Ave. I just want to report that. I was a little concerned. They stopped in the middle of my driveway instead of going farther on. Well, funds were not available.
Correct.
And it's road work at the corner there that is going to be needed badly. So, you know, this program of $20,000 startup, that $20,000 could have been used to fix that roadway, and we could work with the spreadsheet. I know it's a little more work, and like I said, we're working out of a binder. I'll tell you what, I got a business, and some of these things we're working out of a binder too. We're not working out a computer program. And I can buy a computer program for thousands of dollars, but I just don't find it feasible. And the wife doesn't either, and she's my secretary, so I'm gonna listen to her. Because I gotta sleep with her. So, these are just some of the things I think you should take a look at. Like I say, $1,000 isn't very much here.
I appreciate your comments.
I thought you picked up Justin a little bit there, $1,000. This third person in here, I don't know if we really need a third person, but there again, I don't know how much is operational in this office and what we're dealing with. So, these are just some of the things that is a, you know, town person, I'm just trying to find out about.
I appreciate that. So there are different funds that we have that I'm sure that Jocelyn can educate you on this as well, that can be allocated and moved in certain ways, and so other funds that cannot.
Yeah.
So.
And we're talking $10,000 a year on that program, to use that program, and like I said, how much construction are we actually doing dollars set-wise, supposedly a month, that we could justify getting that program to help pay for that program?
That would be a better question for the clerk's office who sees the permits coming in.
I'll check with the clerk's office.
Because we don't receive those figures.
Yeah,
It would pay for itself, and,
yeah.
yeah,
So we take a lot of the work off of your office, and you
off
can
of
do work on
everyone.
other things.
And not only
more
that, it would
importantly-
allow her to actually perform her other tasks much more efficiently.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And that money actually, that would fund that, can't be used for the police or the street department or other, it basically has to sit there. Why not use it?
Okay,
Right, so the fund that's coming from is not one that we could use for anywhere else.
yeah.
And that's the difference between government funding and your personal business. Your personal business, you can move those things around. There are things that we can't move around like that.
Correct.
and not go to jail.
And another comment from the neighbors of my neighborhood, Halloween, the time span was perfect. Instead of our kids wandering around in the dark, they were wandering out in the daylight, and there were people that were speeding up down Greenwood Ave, and I know one person who threw a couple of bottles at a couple cars because they were speeding down through.
Oh, my. Well, I wouldn't recommend throwing bottles at moving cars, but I appreciate the time spent comment.
Well, they're trying to get their attention, I guess they got their attention, and they did slow down. So,
Throw cans,
yeah.
I don't know that I want to throw anything. I wouldn't recommend,
It's cheap out there. So,
yeah, I would not recommend throwing any projectile objects.
And listen to the front.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Billhauser.
Any other public comments this evening? Hello?
How you doing? Craig Jacobs, 2002 Wellness Road. About this JT Sewers. So if he does show up and he gets the permits, is there gonna be someone there making sure he's doing this right? Or is it, because he's gonna cut the road, so he's got to cover it up before he can go to the other side. So I don't know who the inspection department is on that.
He should be coordinating with our engineer.
I was gonna say between our building inspector and our engineer.
Yes.
They would
Someone
be the
will be
two
out there to
that,
make sure.
I
Well,
don't know that they'll be there.
JT needs to coordinate with those two
I think
individuals.
it would be more Tim than me.
Correct.
because
If it's a driveway.
I'm gonna show you a picture of what, this is what he's done so far. Underneath my driveway. That hole goes down 9 feet. He had a man in that hole working.
9 feet?
9 feet.
Do you have a picture of the guy in the hole working? I wish you would.
No,
If you
that
could show
also would be
Mr.
involved
Haas as
based on
well.
that.
Yeah, I wish you would have had a picture of the person in the hole working 9
He
feet.
was lowering him in and out with the bucket.
I wish you would have had video and a picture of that.
I'm a retired union carpenter, I know.
That's why I wish you would
And
have
I've
had.
worked with Jimmy before. And he is just,
Yeah,
you can
let
make
Mr.
sure-
Haas take a look at that.
Haas.
so what it's done is it's undermined underneath my driveway. The tap is like 2 feet under the end of my driveway, 9 feet down.
So this is across the street? from
Yes,
one of them?
so he dug in with the intention of going straight down and then going into the tap. Well, it undermined all my driveway.
It collapsed.
You know, it just kept paving
The
because
sand
you
collapsed.
know what kind of soil we got here.
Wow.
Yeah, and he didn't saw cut the road or anything, that's just peeled back.
Has your driveway collapsed
No, it hasn't.
more since that picture?
No, it hasn't cracked or
So
anything
that
yet, but
hole goes under your driveway?
yeah, about 3 feet under.
Well, they're not gonna be able to compact that.
No.
That's
No,
what I'm
to
saying.
rebuild it.
He was talking hydro, you know, with water, but he was using a garden hose of Gary's when he was trying to fill it back up. So I just want to make sure someone's gonna make sure, you know, I mean, for Gary and for Trail Creek to make sure it's done.
Was there anyone from the Michigan City Sanitary District?
No,
No, because they.
no, he showed up at 1:30 on a Friday afternoon. Got on that machine, crawled across the roads. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Hey, I'm gonna dig this." And he goes, "You got a partner's life about?"
Should I email that picture to the clerk's office? Just so we have a record.
It's just
If-
for everybody,
yes.
you know, we gotta make sure it's done right. Anything is being done.
I think we should have it on record somewhere, and that way we can get it to the Haas offices.
Yeah.
So yes, if you could email that to our clerk's office, and we'll get that to Mr. Haas.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Absolutely, we're gonna revert back to our engineer's office for just a moment.
Well, the asphalt plants are going to be closed any day now.
Yes.
I don't know when, but typically when it starts snowing out,
They're
close
closed.
to Thanksgiving, they close.
Yeah.
What, this work could sit unpaved all winter long if it
Correct.
happens now.
Well, someone came out and filled the hole. I don't know if the street.
No, and,
But it looked
Marshall
like
had
it
told
was,
me this morning that it was filled.
yeah, and it looked like somebody compacted it. That's why I thought the street department had done it.
No.
Because I've been going out and just pushing the gravel back in. And I mean, he's got the gravel and everything right across the road. And the sand that he left out too, but
So then is your recommendation not to issue the permit then at this time?
Based on what I'm seeing here, I'm very concerned about this contractor's quality work.
There's no quality work.
Things like that.
Can we do that?
Well, and I think the district needs to be notified too.
100%. Can we do that? Can we?
You don't have to issue it. The issue, I mean, the worst answer you can give your citizens is that it's a civil matter, but there's a lot that is a civil matter here. But you don't have to issue any permit to him.
He's working in our
That's
right of
right,
way.
you don't have to issue a permit to him.
He's working in our right of way, as far as I'm concerned, and I hate to do this to the guys who want to have this work done, but seeing what he's already done so far, there's no way I would issue this gentleman a permit to work anymore.
Well, and not only that, should the town start bringing,
Okay, so he's not even registered, so it kills it right there. He's not even registered with the town. And if he's not registered with the town, that kills him getting a permit for it anyway.
Yeah.
He's not registered. He doesn't need a permit, he needs a bond.
But
Okay,
he has none of that.
he has none of
He
it.
has none of the paperwork and no plan that was supposed to be submitted to.
So, as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to issue him any of that now anyway.
here's my question.
Well, then, do we need, I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
Building department thing, and I think
Yes.
we need to have.
My question is, he's cut or broke into the road
Yes.
without permission.
Correct.
Does the town need to also pursue them?
Well, that's my concern.
At this point, we will. We probably will.
Yeah.
Again, this is why we want you to email that picture.
What's the situation? I was told that the two septic systems had failed.
Mine's very bad because I have a very large tree, and over the years, it has actually clogged my drain field. So that's why my septic is, like, I have to have it pumped usually about 2 to 3 times a year. You know, which is starting to get expensive. That's why I figured, okay, I'll make one expense and hook up to the city sewer. So yes, that's why. And he had actually done the house right next door to 2002. He actually hooked up the sewer system over there. And he was like, I didn't have to go through all this to do this and do that. And so now he had to get together permits.
He didn't have to cut the road there either.
But he didn't have to cut it down. He was just able to go from the back of the house, go around the side and hook it up on that side of the road.
And his operator knocked the telephone pole down across the street. They were out there changing that at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, in that case, he would not have needed to, he would have needed to be registered and insured, that's it, in the town. All his other permits would be done with the health department.
Do you know if he's?
And the pictures, the officer that came out that day and stopped him, he took a bunch of pictures too. So you might check with him.
I do have those copies.
You do? Okay.
He was in the hole and everything, exactly where Craig was. He actually took a lot more of them.
Yeah.
So hopefully the two of you will be working together on this very soon.
This is GT sewer.
Yes.
Alrighty then.
So City View would help with this issue at the end of the
City
day.
View would have meant that the officer on duty could have drove by, boom, pulled up the system, saw you did not have his paperwork done. He could have stopped the job before the job even started, correct?
So is there supposed to be a permit like hanging in a window if you're doing a job like a city or whatever, you're supposed to have it?
Depending on the project, yes.
So that's
that's
actually a legitimate question because I personally don't deal with sewer systems. So I can't remember if we're supposed to have a permit for a sewer. I know the county's involved.
The county would issue.
But I also know that there's supposed to be a road bond.
He's a, yeah.
So to protect the county road.
Right.
Yeah.
So there may not be an actual permit from the town of Trail Creek for any sewer.
No,
There would be a road bond and then a permit from
The
the county.
permit from the town is a street cut permit.
Correct.
The permit from the sanitary district is for the sewer work.
Okay.
So the sanitary district typically would want to inspect that.
Right.
Sewer.
Now, would they issue an actual permit though?
Yeah, typically.
Like you would put in the window shut?
I don't know about.
Because if his tap fails and it's underneath his driveway, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they care about what he
Yeah,
does.
somebody has to inspect that.
Yes, yes.
But the city will not inspect the backfill all the way up.
Right,
the asphalt or
correct.
anything.
So now this is an issue where we've got 3 municipalities.
It was just what he was doing.
Yep, Michigan City, the county, and Trail Creek all involved.
I'm not sure why the county's involved.
I would think just because of the septic.
Only for it to be.
Yeah,
To abandon the septic, yes.
Yeah, they have to come out and make sure it's filled.
You got
Yeah.
from municipality, I'm just wondering,
Yeah,
are these
you're right.
things that fall through the cracks? I don't know.
Okay. With that, I'm going to actually look to adjourn the meeting for the evening. We can continue this conversation after if you have specific questions for the residents. But in the interest of time, and I know that some people need to move on for the evening, do we have a motion to
I
adjourn?
move to adjourn the meeting.
All right, and a
I'll
second?
second it.
Thank you, all in favor? Aye. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Except.